Oh. I don't see how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
Welcome to the morning show. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. What are you doing, buddy?
he's like an 8-year-old kid, eh?
It's the face.
Turn the volume up and down and dragging it down.
But it's the face. There was a sexual.
He was manipulating it. Oh, my heart.
All right, let's move on here without fucking.
Nice technical producer, right?
Oh yeah. The most important thing, the microphone. All right, guys, that's a producer, Poseidon. Yeah. I am Poseidon.com, the Poseidon69 on all social media platforms that you can follow him. He's trying to grow his YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen.
I was fingering the volume knob.
Where's the YouTube channel that can go and help
The
you?
Poseidon69. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. So go subscribe.
Help the man, guys. Help the man. Go on over the channel and help this man.
Do you enjoy inappropriate? Subscribe to Poseidon.
Yes, very inappropriate. Yeah.
Like always, ladies and gentlemen,
But funny
I'm here.
inappropriate.
I'm here with the legendary. Can I just fucking finish? The legendary broadcaster himself and co-host of Standing by the Terry and Ted podcast. It's Ted Bird. How's it going? Now we can talk. Now we can.
And I was going to say, if there's an idea or an ideology that you respect and that you think is like valiant, I will find a way to disrespect it.
Yeah. Poseidon will shoot it right the fuck down.
And he's proven it.
Yes.
Is there any food here?
Are you hungry?
I am so.
Yeah, you're hungry. Yeah? There's a snack machine down the hallway.
Is there?
Yeah. Do you have change though?
I don't have change. I got bills.
I think it takes like $5 bills.
Okay, good.
And it gives you, this one actually gives you the change back. It doesn't.
Because I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I've got that low blood sugar kind of hungry where you feel like you're gonna pass out.
Let's get something inside you.
Yeah, I got to.
Poseidon, drop those pants.
Have you a dry dick, Ted?
Sorry, Mom.
By the way, guys, you can head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. It is the Patreon page of Pantelis, and you can find yourself the subscription that best fits your needs, and you can enjoy some awesome content out of there.
Yes, actually, there's an episode of The Intellectuals that we're not going to release to the public. It is
Why? Because
exclusive
it's
to
that
Patreon.
inappropriate?
It was rough. It was very rough.
So that's you and Guido?
No, me and Adam. This is an episode with me and Adam.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. No Guido.
Yeah, there was a lot of N-word involved.
From Adam?
From all of us.
Like the actual N-word?
The N-word?
Yeah.
Not
Really,
just
eh?
N-word.
Yeah, the N-word, the actual N-word.
I think you shouldn't post that at all.
But it was contextualized.
It was consensual.
Okay.
Consensual? With the entire black community? No, we had the consent of the entire black community.
No, there was no N-word drop. I'm just
good.
just messing around. It was just a rough episode.
It was, eh?
Yeah.
Rough in a good way or a
In a
bad
good
way?
way, in a good way.
Okay.
Like you may lose some brain cells watching it or listening to it, that's for sure, but entertaining nonetheless.
I don't know if I can afford to lose anymore.
Hey, did you guys Did you guys lose Facebook yesterday?
Yes. Everybody did.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I didn't lose Facebook or Instagram
At all?
at all.
You always had
I always had access,
You must be part of the Illuminati.
but my bank card stopped working.
Oh, shit.
All of them just stopped for 30 minutes.
That's weird.
What?
I think he might be making that up.
No.
I think he's
Scotiabank
going-
system. No, I had to call Scotiabank.
Yeah?
It's almost Scotiabank. Everything was down, apparently.
That's where Olympia works. She almost showed up at Marvin's last week. Almost.
Can she get me a $250,000 line of credit
I'll
tomorrow?
ask her.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
tomorrow. Look, it's a done deal. You don't even have to meet anyone. No
Yeah,
signing
I make
papers.
20 grand a month, by the way.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm saying this for the record.
Yeah. Let it be.
Let it be known.
Probably part of the reason I'm hungry is because I haven't eaten since we went to Marvin's a week ago. Because I haven't had to.
Thank you to Nick that came out.
Yeah, that was
Captain
nice.
Yolo.
Yeah.
Who follows us. Thanks for
Oh,
coming
yeah,
out.
it's true. He was there. I completely forgot.
Yeah, our fan came.
One fan. That's all
That's
we need.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, it's a start. Next time we go, maybe Olympia will show up too, and other fans. God, it was good though. I hadn't been there in probably 20 years.
I like the renovations that they did. It looked really nice. I hadn't gone in a while too.
Apparently, there used to be a lot more animal heads hanging on the walls, eh?
But
Now there's
I
just
remember,
only the
I
mooses
remember
left
that
now.
transition that they made. Of course, I remember the animal heads that were all over everywhere. Every space on the wall was taken by some sort of animal.
Yeah.
Deer, a fox, or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking by ordering the two. What do you call it? Euro? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Like I ordered the plate with two. One was plenty. One was
sure.
more than enough. On top of the French fries
It's
and the
too
Greek
much.
salad.
It's too much.
And Poseidon very generously insisted on ordering and paying for himself a tzatziki plate and a calamari plate.
yeah.
But the calamari are delicious.
It's the best. It's the best.
That for me would be enough. Calamari with
Yeah.
fries and I'd be good to go.
Yeah.
I remember when, because, for Greek Easter, we have the week where we fast, basically. Do you know what I'm talking about, Ted?
Well, is that like Lent?
It is. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And
Technically,
we,
it's 40 days.
technically, well, that's for the hardcore people, but for the softcore people, it's a week. It's, I think, 6 days.
So by fasting, that means that you're not talking about you don't eat at all.
No.
What do you do?
You don't eat meat, I think.
You cannot eat anything that comes from an animal. So
Okay.
eggs, milk, chocolate.
So basically, you're on a fruit and vegetable diet kind of thing.
anything that doesn't
Greens.
bleed. Anything
Yeah.
basically.
I don't know if I could do that.
You can have
can't.
bread, fish, certain fish, not all fish. And you can. One of the things you could have is like seafood. So calamari. So I remember during the entire week, my mother would bring, I think, 3 times a week, like at least 8 boxes of calamari, and we would
Marvin's makes a killing. That one week, that last week.
I'll bet. Yeah. Well, I don't understand. What's the difference between seafood and meat that you would get from an animal that lives on land? It's still a living thing.
Yeah, but the crustaceans don't bleed. Like they don't have blood.
Interesting.
Yeah, so anything that doesn't have blood, you can consume.
Is
Like-
that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck! I'm good to go for that. Are you kidding me? Calamari, lobster.
Yeah.
what about fish like salmon, trout, that type of thing?
No, not really. Anything that bleeds, you
They
can.
bleed.
Yeah.
Okay, I
I
didn't
think
know
it
that.
depends the level of, whatever it is, hardcore belief or.
Yeah. But that's what it is. And look, I don't know how wrong or right I am, but that's what I've been told all my life since I was a kid. So you know what? And we've been for that week we'd consume enough.
We used to do it. We used to do it when we were kids. And then when we went to high school, I think my parents just lost control. How do you hold a 14, 15-year-old from eating?
Yeah.
I'll tell mom, no, I haven't eaten anything. Meanwhile, I had just gone to Village Grec.
Yeah.
Well, at that age, you're ravenous.
do whatever,
Part of the reason I'm so hungry is I went back to the pool this week for the first time in 5 weeks since I had those dermatology biopsies,
yes.
right? Like those have healed enough that I can go back
can go
into
swim, yeah.
and swim now. And swimming makes me fucking ravenous, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It just makes me absolutely ravenous. And I can put a Band-Aid on the scab on my leg, but I can't reach the one on my back. So I had to tell the lifeguard, I said, that's a bullet wound from, I was in the Vietnam War. Back in 1969 in the Tet Offensive, I took a VC round. I don't like to talk about it. And she got pretty creeped out and called security. Unfortunately, I had already done my laps by the time they escorted me out of the building.
Handcuffed.
No, just with a warning. Never come back.
You're swimming in the pool with a knife in your mouth. It's PTSD. It's PTSD. God, I need it.
That's hilarious. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go with a fucking dagger and put it in my mouth. Why?
Wow, we used to do this.
Yeah.
What are you?
What if Charlie shows up?
What are you, part of the Viet Cong?
That's so funny. My goodness. So everything's okay now? Your wounds are healed?
I finally heard from the doctor. They want to do the dermatologist wants to do a follow-up with me middle of March.
Okay.
So it took them 5 weeks to call me. The biopsy results usually come in 2 weeks, he told me. So I'm sure it's fine. And the follow-up is just going to be him saying it's fine, or it's going to be him saying, listen, I'm really sorry, but you slipped through the cracks. I should have called you like 3 fucking weeks ago, man. Anyway, you had a good run.
It's okay. I mean, it's all right that I forgot in any case.
No, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
It's healing really well too.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Did you want that food? Do you want him to go get you something?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I could go to the. You have? I don't have cash on me. Do you
What
have?
does it have?
I do. Hang on.
What do they have? What do they have on the thing?
Hold on. Oh, you're gonna go? Is he gonna go? Oh, okay. No, I'll go for you. You got to continue the show.
What do they have?
I'll take a picture and send it to you, Ted, and then you'll decide.
No, just give me shit. Give me like some chips and a chocolate bar.
Chips and a chocolate bar. Chips and a chocolate bar. Chips and a chocolate bar. All right.
Thanks, man.
I shall return.
Is that enough these days?
You forgot to put it in my bra.
That'll be later when we go to Hooters for your afternoon shift.
Oh my goodness.
Look at the tits on that chick with the handlebar mustache.
Check out those moves.
Yeah, seriously.
With a handlebar mustache. Oh God.
My friend Zach says hello.
Hi, Zach.
Yeah, he loves you guys. I think we should have him on the show one day. Because he's I think we should have him on the show before the American election. Zach played hockey in the States, university hockey, and he also got his degree, I think, in geological engineering.
Okay.
And then he worked all around the States on oil rigs and stuff. Yeah. And he's a smart guy, and he's politically astute like you are. He likes politics, and I think he could give some really interesting insights as someone who has lived in the States, and fairly recently too. I think he only came back fairly recently. He could give some interesting insights leading up to the U.S. election, which increasingly to me,
That's getting more and more interesting.
well, doesn't it look like though isn't it shaping up as a Trump runaway?
Yeah.
Unless they find
He's been winning everything.
Yeah.
And he won. I think Nikki Haley won D.C.
Yesterday was Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
So tell me what Super Tuesday is.
It's usually the day where most of these congresses happen, right? So in different states. I can't remember which ones there were this week, but Trump won like 3 or 4 of them. Nikki Haley,
It's a bellwether, right? It's an indicator of who's doing what.
Yeah. And it's also not only that, and I'm surprised it's actually lasting this long, because usually after a couple of them, the other candidates' sponsors, the people, the big money guys,
right,
don't really
campaign donors.
They don't really hang on. They're like, nah.
Well, if it's pretty obvious that you're not going to win, why would you throw good money after bad?
Exactly. But Nikki Haley has surprisingly managed to kept her donors all this time, which is also another indication of what's happening in the Republican Party, because she says that, and of course data also shows it, that almost half of the Republicans don't want to support Donald Trump, and they won't be voting for him, or will be voting instead for Biden. So it's weird what is happening.
Yeah.
Of course, Donald Trump has most of the support. He's won most of the primaries. I think she picked up D.C., if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you're a good man.
Resist. I got you feminist.
Thank you. That's excellent. Nicely done. Beautiful. Thank
Which
you so
one is
much.
that? Her.
Yeah.
Her, she. Oh, I get what they've done. It's a Hershey's bar, and they named it Hershey.
Oh, that's fine. I can live with
that-
that. Yeah.
Is it a Hershey's?
This chocolate bar, let me show you. This chocolate bar has pronouns. Her, she.
Yeah.
It's smart.
Yeah.
If it's a Hershey's bar, it's pretty smart what they've done.
But although it looks like a he, she, you know.
I don't know if it's a Hershey's, but
I don't know. She looks good to me. I'd take a run at her.
No, I know. I was just
And
dumb.
she'd go, ooh, mister, quit it.
so anyway, yeah. So she.
I was expecting a chuckle and it fell flat.
Well, what are you going to do?
So she's not doing so well. They're suspecting that today she may either announce she's stepping down. There isn't.
Is there anyone else still in the race?
No, it's just
That's
them two.
it, eh?
It's just them two.
Okay.
Here's the two things that I've read. Either that she announces, well, for sure she's going to have to step down. At this point, I don't see how she can herself think that she could manage to run against Trump. I mean, the support is just not there. One thing's for sure is that she won't endorse Donald Trump. The big question is now...
She won't, eh?
No, she
Why
won't.
not?
I don't know, because she doesn't like him. I don't know.
Okay.
But who knows? Maybe she will. But based on the analysts that I follow, she doesn't seem too keen on endorsing him, which suggests two things. Either she's just going to step aside without endorsing Trump. So, I mean, that's going to maintain that rift in the Republican Party where, almost that half of the people, there's going to be a huge question mark on whether or not they will support Donald Trump. Or the other thing that is being suggested is that she may run independently.
Okay.
As a Republican candidate. And that's bad. And it's bad not only for the Republicans, but in general for the election, because you have on either side strong candidates running independently, if that's what she chooses to do. So imagine on the Republican side, you have the official candidate, which will be Donald Trump, and an independent, Nikki Haley, who claims that at least half of the people in the Republican Party don't want to support Trump. So there would clearly be a split.
I don't believe that.
I don't know.
I think that's...
because all the polls seem to indicate that. She's not making that up. Now, again, polls... so the polls haven't always been
am I making a lot of noise by chewing?
No, go ahead, enjoy it.
So the polls haven't always been on point, but what I'm trying to say is that there's going to decidedly be a split in that vote on the Republican side, and the same thing will happen on the Democrat side with Biden running and JFK Jr. running as an independent as well. I don't think he has enough to win, but does he have enough to take away from the Democrats to create a problem? Same thing could be said about Nikki Haley. Can she pull enough away from Donald Trump to create a problem on that side as well? So it's going to be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm curious to see if she's going to hold on and do it independently, which would require an enormous amount of funds to run as an independent.
So talk about that U.S. Supreme Court ruling this week and how important that was.
Yeah, so I read that and I saw that come in, and basically they ruled that it is unconstitutional to remove Donald Trump from the ballot.
Which a number of states have tried to do, right?
Exactly.
On the grounds that he's an insurrectionist because of January 6th,
So they've
2020.
ruled against that whole premise, which legitimizes Donald Trump's bid for a candidate in the presidential election, which is huge now.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody lost their minds, right?
sure.
The Democrats, the anti-Trump media, which is 90% of the media, conservatively 90%.
Here's what I hate, Ted, because immediately after that judgment comes through, you have all these quote-unquote analysts or commentators or whatever you want to call them on TV that start looking at the but option, right? Yeah, but I mean, let's be honest here. More than half of the Supreme Court judges were nominated by Trump, so it's obvious that they're going to take that direction. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I still believe that, especially the U.S., in French we call it l'état de droit. Like, there is such huge respect for justice that irrespective of who has nominated you, you're going to uphold the Constitution and the law law.
of the land. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, enough about the analysts. What about the analysts?
Fucking guy. Eh?
So yeah.
sorry, keep going.
So I hate that argument side that we're like, that's a decision, but let's keep in mind that
that's what losers do. Losers go to buts.
Yeah.
I want to find the Babylon Bee did a great article on the day of the ruling was on Monday, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you read the Babylon Bee at all?
No.
Oh, it's so funny. It's
It's great satire.
it's the best satire.
It's so good that sometimes it's a little too close to the truth.
It's not easy writing satire.
Listen to this. This is so good. The headline is, in a major blow to democracy, Supreme Court rules voters can vote for favorite candidate. Dateline, Washington, D.C. In a stunning unanimous decision that dealt a shocking blow to democracy, the United States Supreme Court affirmed that people can vote for the candidate they want. The landmark ruling, issued just as the 2024 presidential election prepared to ramp up, presents a grave new threat to American freedom, as all 9 justices declared that voters can, in defiance of what the ruling authorities may want, select their preferred candidate. We've never seen democracy in such danger, said black and gay White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who is black and gay.
I didn't know she was gay.
Today's ruling from the Supreme Court now adds credence to the belief held by fringe extremists that they are allowed to select the candidate they want in an election. This is terrifying. The state of Colorado had boldly and bravely attempted to preserve democracy by removing former President Donald Trump from the ballot, but the nation's highest court ended all hope that freedom and liberty would reign. We don't have a country anymore, said a despondent Rachel Maddow. You mean to tell me in a democracy, people can just go out and vote for whoever they want? Why don't you just burn the Constitution already? Seriously, can we burn it? At publishing time, Democrats at all levels of government across the country decried the ruling as the end of America as we know it, ushering in a new and dangerous era of people getting to vote for the candidate they want to be in charge. Isn't that great?
The sarcasm is just...
it's fantastic. It's just fantastic. Oh, you got to, George, you have to follow and read the Babylon Bee. They're just terrific.
I follow them on Twitter. It's fantastic.
Aren't they great, Poseidon?
Oh, my God, I love it.
Yeah, they're so good and smart. Like, that's so well written and smart.
I mean, look, I'm not the biggest Trump fan either, but at the same time, I don't know. And it'd be stupid to even talk about the January 6th event because, I mean, is it still ongoing, that whole investigation, or has it ended? Or
I was under the impression that it was over. And
is it?
But I don't know. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm like you. I'm not the biggest fan in the world, and I know he's a blowhard, and he's a narcissist, and I understand. It's his personality that turns people off. It's not his policies. His policies, he doesn't have crazy policies. His policies are not insane.
You know what it is, Ted? It's the policies don't represent his discourse. That's the thing, because the policies that he put forward aren't as extreme as what he says. So maybe he doesn't know how to explain things, or his brain goes off somewhere where you're like, huh?
I saw him yesterday.
But in contrast, what he does isn't the equivalent of what he says.
No. He was on social media yesterday. Someone was interviewing him. He was talking about Elon Musk, and he goes, He's one of our geniuses. He says he's very good with rockets.
It's so stupid.
You see his rockets? They go up and they land. I've seen them. I've seen his rockets. They're very good.
He's like a fucking child.
Yeah,
like a child talks like that.
That's
amazing. Those rockets? Look at those rockets.
He met with Musk yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know what the context of the meeting was, but everyone went crazy about that as well.
Bring him back on Twitter.
But he's back on Twitter.
I thought he was back on Twitter.
No.
Yeah. No?
I think they reinstated his account, but he refused to come back on.
Yeah, because he has his own, he created his own social media, it would make sense for him. Speaking of Elon Musk, man, it was so funny yesterday, and we were talking about the Facebook crash there. There was a tweet, because obviously it happened at the time where I was posting all my stuff, and I couldn't fucking get it. I'm like, God damn, this is fucking annoying. So anyway, I went on Twitter to see what was happening, just to make sure that, that it was indeed an issue, and I see a tweet from Elon Musk, and he's like, "If you're reading this tweet, it's because our servers are working." He's such a fucking
just firing a big shot right across Zuckerberg's bow, right?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's such a prick. I love it.
Someone's got to shoot a shot at that Android.
I love it.
Must be great to have that kind of fuck you money, eh?
Yeah, man.
Just say whatever you want, whenever you want.
It's just a bottomless pit, and he can just do whatever the fuck he wants.
You don't like it? Too fucking bad. Too fucking bad for you.
What was that thing that he said? It was some conference or whatever when they were questioning him about losing some advertisers or whatever, some on Twitter. I can't remember. It was some big name.
Some big companies.
Yeah, and he's like,
Disney.
"Well, go. Well, was it Disney? Well, fuck off," or some shit like that. He told them something.
Yeah.
The interviewer was like, "What?
Yeah.
what did he just say?"
Yeah, that was like at a conference in front of a live audience too.
yeah,
It was great. Yeah, he was like, "Well, then, fuck you. You don't want to advertise on my thing? Fuck off, then. Get out of here. I'll find someone who does."
And I think he named him. No, he said a name.
Good for him.
Yeah, I think hi Bob or whatever he said. He's so fucking good. He's so funny.
That's fuck you money right there, eh?
Speaking of court rulings, you sent me an article about Texas, which made absolutely no sense to me. No sense to me. Like the decision that was made, my first reaction was, how the fuck was that not already implemented?
Well, I don't understand how and why so many people are crossing the southern U.S. border. Why are they being?
Well, I can understand why they're crossing it because
Well, I can understand from their perspective. But why are they being allowed in?
Yeah.
And they're from the Middle East.
No. They're from they're from South America.
And there's a lot of Middle Eastern.
How would a Middle Eastern cross from the southern border?
I don't know, bro. I asked myself the same damn question when I saw a terrorist cross the southern border.
Well, the court ruling was a U.S. federal court upheld a Texas law that said authorities have the right to arrest and detain people suspected of coming into the country illegally. And I'm like you. I thought,
Yeah, how is that not
was
in
that not
practice
already the law?
Yeah, exactly.
you know, and I think I read yesterday that another court has now stayed that ruling. So they cannot, in fact, enforce that law. So I'm not sure exactly where it stands, but I was stunned and amazed that wasn't a law in the first place, because that's just common sense. Otherwise, it's just a free for all where everybody, come on in.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
You can't have it that way.
That's absurd.
Well, especially if you're right there, right? You're the front line. I mean, they're coming. At some point, someone needs to put their foot down and say, "Look, we need to take control." And if the federal government isn't taking action, then us as a state, we have a responsibility.
That's what the governor of Texas is trying to do.
For sure.
Abbott is his name.
I can't
remember his first name, but anyway, it's hey Abbott. He's trying to stop this flow of migrants. And there was a horrible story this week. A young woman at a university, I believe in Connecticut, university student, was
Greg Abbott, by the way.
Greg Abbott, there you go. She was out jogging and she was murdered by an undocumented immigrant. And of course, that became a cause célèbre for the people who are against open border migration. And the people on the other side of the argument was, well, it's an isolated incident. It's an outlier. So any way you look at it, it's a terrible, horrible, tragic story. And I don't understand the open migration issue. And I do know that people who are against it, a lot of them think it's the Democrats. And I think that up here, it's the same thing with the Liberals, are basically just trying to import voters, because most of the migrants who come in would vote Liberal,
but they can't vote. They don't have voting rights. They don't have voting rights. You need to get your citizenship in order to get your voting rights.
Well, they can accelerate that process, can't they?
I don't think so. How can they accelerate that process without first accelerating your request for what's it called?
Landed immigrant status?
No, the other one.
Asylum?
Asylum. Right? Because most of them are coming under that pretext. So I don't know.
Well, I don't even understand the point of letting them all in the first place.
Well, you can't reject them based on the convention that exists. So
You mean if they claim political asylum, like if they?
yeah,
You
there's
can't reject them if they claim that if you don't let them in, their
the
lives would be
refugees, right? The
their
refugees.
lives would be in danger if they had to go back to where they come
so
from.
they have to automatically take them in and then evaluate the request for refugee status. The problem here in Canada is that it takes so long, like it takes years. And that's the fucking problem. And anyone you speak to, even now the current immigration minister, even the former ones, kept repeating it, saying, listen, 85% of these refugee applications get refused. The problem isn't that, though. The problem is that if it takes longer, like 3 years, and they come in as a couple, and in 3 years they have a child, what the hell do you do? What do you do? The child technically is Canadian.
true.
So there's a huge issue there. And not only that, where they're having a problem now with Quebec, and it's going to be a huge issue, it's already a big problem, is that while the federal government tries to figure their shit out and to process all these requests, the province has to take care of these people. They have to make sure that they get educated, their healthcare is covered, their social and economic needs are covered. So we have to pay for these people. We have to cover for their livelihoods, right? I mean, we're not stupid. We're not going to leave them out on the street, right? They need a place to stay. So all these things cost money. So last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, the government of Quebec asked the federal government for, I think, $1 billion or something like that.
God damn.
Maybe more, to cover for that balance. Because, listen, dude, you owe me money. I'm here, picking up your garbage because you can't fucking deal with the situation. I'm not going to do this on my own. No. They have every right to do so. And I support that. I mean, the big problem, though, is that given the context, the government over here in Quebec also has no idea what to do. And they're coming out with all these decisions. Like last or 2 weeks ago, they said that, kids coming from refugees or new immigrants won't be allowed in public daycares because they're just taking up space from other kids. And it's like decisions that are making you kind of think, what the fuck are you talking about? Why wouldn't
But that's true, though.
It is true, but at the same time, how do you want these people to work? Because they have a temporary visa, obviously, while they're here. They could technically work. So how do they work if their kids can't go to daycare? So it's just absurd. It's just weird. You support it because it makes sense, right? Every common person like you, me, Ted, whatever, we have young kids. We've been waiting on lists forever. There's 50,000 kids waiting on a wait list.
For daycare?
Yeah, of course. It's horrible.
I have a new
the
business
local
idea.
government has done nothing for daycares, and this was one of their primary objectives in 2018 when they got elected. They failed miserably at it. So let's put that aside. Let's not get ideological or political over here. So that's one issue. They haven't resolved that problem. So there's 50,000 kids waiting on the list. So these are parents that are trying to figure it out. It's been 6 years now that they're trying to figure out how to work and keep the kids and where do we bring them. And it's a whole fucking mess. At the same time, now you have this increased wave of migrants coming in. They want to have the spots as well. I can understand the government's position, but at the same time, I don't know if the problem lies there. The problem is much bigger. I think it's the incompetence of actually resolving the problem at its source. So yeah, Poseidon, I agree with you. It makes sense. Yeah. But at the same time, if you look at it from the other people's perspective, it's like they come here, they get a temporary visa. Trust me, they also want to work, man. They want to get their lives in order as well.
I have two ideas.
What the fuck do they do?
I have two ideas. One is stupid. One is
no doubt.
Okay. First idea, I'm going to get the stupid one out of the way.
Hold on. Right. I bet you they're both stupid. No. Yeah.
So, what you do is, first business idea, you open up daycares that only accepts the children of immigrants. Mm-hmm. And the selling point on these is you raise them as they would be raised back in their country. So if they act up, you can smack them. You have less laws.
Yeah, that is a stupid idea.
We have.
Next, what's the second one?
You have. We have our politicians that are pedophiles. You could.
And this is government. Is this government funded?
No, but you can have them place bets, right? So it will be government funded eventually.
Are
Okay.
Let's move on to the second one.
That's the first dumb one.
Let's just ignore that one never happened.
The second one is actually, I think, in my opinion, viable for this. The way to increase space for garderies, is that what
daycares.
they're called? Daycares, sorry.
Yeah.
Why did I say it? Garderies. So for daycares is, at the end of the day, it is a business, correct?
Depends. Okay.
No, but it is.
It depends if it's a publicly funded one or if it's a private one.
But at the end of the day, it's still a business. Your money comes either from the public sector or the private sector at the end of the day.
No, if it's a CPA, it's not a business. It's government funded. So you
but-
just can't declare a
People
deficit.
still have to pay though, right?
Yeah, but okay.
But it's still a business, bro. Whether you get your money from the government or you get your money from
Whatever,
the private
okay.
sector, it's still a business that you have to run. Idea. There's an incentive to open up daycares. Okay, meaning you get you get tax breaks. The first 2 years you open up a daycare, they make the licenses easier. The first 2 years, the government pays half the rent of the property. Let's say a landlord, authorizes for you to build a daycare. I think they could do like tax incentives like that. Cut taxes, like, I don't know, 0% tax for 5 years if you open up a daycare. We pay half the rent for 2 years of the lease, or 2.5 years on the lease of the daycare. So little incentives like that. What that'll do is people will see it as a viable business idea, and they'll eventually open up more daycares, creating more places, in my opinion.
Do you think he has a future as a Minister of Social Services?
Tomorrow. I hope they listen to this. They're going to be like, listen, our problem is resolved.
I'll tell you.
Let's get this guy.
They're never going to do it because they're greedy, but do you guys think it's a good idea or a bad idea?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think
But
about
I mean,
it
it's
more.
actually logical. If you don't take money from people from a place where you normally take, more people are going to be driven.
If it was that easy, the government would have already injected money to create new daycares. They have. I don't understand.
No, you're not injecting money. That's what you're not understanding.
Well, you
You're
just
doing-
said that the government's going to pay the rent.
Yeah, that is injecting money, but if you just do the tax cuts, let's say, you're not necessarily injecting money, you're just not collecting.
But there is tax cuts as well. See, right now.
Yeah, but I mean, you bring it down to zero.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think you should open a business as a personal candy shopper because those were two great choices that you made when you bought that. Yeah, Yum Yum, sweet cheddar cheese, rippled chips, and the transgender chocolate bar were both absolutely delicious.
You know how many times people have told me you should open up something food related because it would turn into a gold mine?
I would.
Because I treat everything because I love food, I would treat all the food as if I was going to eat it.
I can't.
Well, those were good calls. In particular, those chips were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might send you back down there before the end of the show.
But just
Not that expensive, $2.25 the bag and $2 a chocolate bar.
That's not bad at all
$2
these
for a
days.
chocolate bar.
These days, yeah,
Jeez.
but yeah. You know what? Here's how old I am. When I was a kid, 25 cents get your chocolate bar and a bottle of pop. 10 cents for the chocolate bar, and 15 cents for the bottle of pop. Yeah. And my grandparents considered that outrageous.
Yeah. It's so expensive.
I have a question for you, Ted.
Yes.
How old are you?
What was all the craze with I never understood chocolate and soda or you know what I mean? That mix never tasted good to me.
I don't know.
It's true that it's a weird mix, though. A chocolate bar and a soda. I can't do that either.
Something salty in a soda, I completely understand.
Salt in the soda.
Like chips in a soda.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something salty in a soda.
Okay, I thought you said something salty in the soda.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know if it was a craze necessarily, but it never really occurred to me. I'll still, on the weekend if I
But then again, it must have been the cocaine in the soda.
that could have been it too. Yeah. No, that wasn't until the 80s for me. On the weekend, I'll go over to Dollarama and get a bunch of snacks to eat while I watch a movie, and I always have a soft drink with it. I'll get a bunch of chocolate and a bunch of chips, and I never even gave that any thought.
Really?
Yeah.
I think, you know what? Even a chocolate bar and chips, I can't do.
No, that's a good mix.
Really? I can't do it.
And sometimes what you do is you take a break from the chips. You cut a piece of chocolate.
But that's what you do at the theater, though, right? When you go and pay $5,000 you get popcorn, a chocolate bar, and a soft drink, right?
I rarely get
That's
sweets
the
at
trio.
the movie theater.
No, well, I just smuggle mine. I don't remember the last time I went to a movie, because you can pretty much watch anything on TV. now
I
on
go with the
streaming.
kids. I go with the kids.
It's nice. It's still fun to have.
But
that.
we don't get soft drinks. We usually get like an iced tea. So
I,
it's
I,
sweet.
I buy stuff at Dollarama and smuggle it in. I'm not
They don't
paying.
check anymore, eh?
No, I'm not. Well, I mean, did they ever? What do they frisk you as you're going in the theater? He's got M&Ms.
I remember a time where they would check your purse.
That's a good sketch, by the
Yeah,
way.
no kidding, eh?
Yeah, like high-end security at the movie theater.
We're out of here, boys. They're onto us.
Oh shit!
Oh man! But no. Just to finish on the immigration thing, because next week the Premier Legault is meeting with Justin Trudeau. I think specifically to speak about. Although the agenda has been made public, it must obviously have to do with immigration. It's out of control. The federal government is making decisions that kind of touch provincial jurisdiction, and
They love that in Quebec, eh?
they're
Well, isn't immigration in Quebec exclusive to Quebec?
No, not entirely. No.
No?
They select the immigrants, but there is still a process that has to go through the federal government, like the background checks and like working visas are still federal. So there's a whole process there. It's not easy. It's very complicated. And I know that, for example, with respect to Quebec, they had put a limit to family reunification cases for immigration up to 10,000. And this week, the federal minister, Mark Miller, increased it to over 20,000. So Quebec is like, what the fuck are you doing? We had established the ceiling at 10,000. What are you doing? And their argument is that, listen, this is our jurisdiction. We can decide whatever the fuck we want. And the Quebec side is like, you're a fucking idiot. We have established a ceiling. We had a kind of an agreement on that. Even though it is your responsibility, you should respect our capacity to welcome these people. And we didn't want to go above 10,000. So what exactly are you doing? So there's a lot of speculation out there to the effect that, the federal government is looking at different ways of bringing immigrants without calling them immigrants, right? So it's family reunification, or it's whatever you want to describe it as. So it's a big issue. It's a big issue not because we don't want immigrants, because that's wrong to say. I mean, Canada, I think, among all the countries in the world, is probably one of the most open countries,
One of the
right?
most
I mean,
welcoming, for sure,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's not the issue. The issue is that we no longer have the capacity to take care of these immigrants. Not that we don't want them, is that what do we do with them? There's a housing problem. There's all these issues, and provinces just don't have the ability anymore economically or socially to welcome, at least not in the numbers that they want. Right? Let's not forget, because we spoke about this on the podcast, there's a policy now that Trudeau has brought in by 2100 to have 100 million people in Canada, right? It's the Millennium Plan or whatever the fuck they
I
call
will
it.
be so dead.
Of course, I think I'd be dead. Would I be dead? Yeah, eh?
Imagine.
I'd be dead.
What year were you born?
81.
Then you would be dead or 119 years old.
Yeah, maybe I'll make it. Maybe I'll
That
make
George guy's old. Hey, he looks good for 119 though.
it. Yeah. So do we have the capacity to do that? I don't know. Do we have the infrastructure? Definitely not. So it's a big mess. And again, it's not only Canada. It's all over the world. I had a podcast this week for this production that I do, and we spoke specifically about the immigration issue in Europe, which is another big deal. So it's not only Canada; it's everywhere, and it's crazy to think how a conflict in one specific region of the world has impacted the entire world.
Talking about Gaza?
Not only Gaza, but the Middle East, the war in Syria,
Yeah.
from Pakistan, Iraq, Iran, obviously.
Well, there are multiple conflicts in Africa too. Are
In
there
Africa as well. So it's insane. It's insane what is happening right now. So there you have it. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm curious to know exactly what that meeting is gonna bring out as a.
I ran, you ran, we all ran to our deaths.
As a result.
I think we should talk about Mr. Mulroney.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
Let's
I was really pleased to see very little vitriol directed towards him on social
But
media.
isn't that usually the case when figures like that
not
pass
always.
away?
I
They
think
always go to the positive.
Well, not always. I mean, if Trump passed away, do you think it would be mostly positive?
Yeah,
Of course not.
you're right.
I think it was a demonstration of how well respected Mulroney was, even by his political opponents or people who weren't on the same side as him, and an indication of how non-polarizing he was.
Yeah.
He was not a polarizing prime minister. He was a respected statesman.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't agree with his politics. He was not untainted by scandal, but when he passed away, the reaction was overwhelmingly dignified.
And you know what? And it was to be expected, obviously, but it was nice to see it actually present in the social media and everywhere on TV and on radio, especially from Quebec. And it's not something that you would have thought would be possible. This is a federal politician from the Conservative Party, okay, which is not that popular in Quebec. I mean, we're seeing the results over here. Mind you, when he was prime minister, he completely destroyed. I mean,
he had an electoral breakthrough in Quebec in 1984.
Exactly.
And he's from Baie-Comeau. He was fluently, he was a Quebecer.
He was a Quebecer.
He was a Quebecer.
But the fact that the Conservative Party managed to do so well in Quebec was the biggest surprise of all time back then, right? But still, the fact that he was a federalist, a conservative, you would imagine that in Quebec it wouldn't sit well, right? Yet, Quebecers appreciated him much more than any other prime minister because he legitimately made an effort twice to get Quebec into the Constitution and to recognize Quebec's identity and Quebec's needs within the Federation. We're talking about, obviously, the Meech Lake and the Charlottetown Accord, which both failed, but at least they recognized that he was the only prime minister, the only one to actually truly make an effort and care.
I think there was a great deal more respect and admiration for him among Quebecers than there was for Pierre Trudeau. They hated Pierre Trudeau. The Nationalists hated Trudeau.
Yeah.
They hated him.
Well,
and he was one of them. He was a Francophone Quebecer.
Well, don't forget, this whole debate and this whole issue started with him. He's the one that rejected Quebec when he ratified
repatriated
the Constitution.
Yeah.
So obviously Quebecers fucking hate his guts. It's like, what the hell is this? You just turned your back on us. You didn't even negotiate. It just happened overnight.
Yeah. Chrétien was in on that too, but he was not as vilified, I didn't find, in Quebec as
I think
Trudeau
because he was much more of a populist. He was, he wasn't the intellectual. He spoke very slang.
Yeah.
People related to him.
The Scar de Schwinningen.
Exactly. Fucking choking people in the street.
The guy with the baby hat. That was my all-time favorite. The Schwinningen handshake.
That picture is so awesome.
Yeah, it's just the greatest. There was also a great clip of him talking about, well, a proof is a proof. When you have a proof, then it's proven.
That's funny. I like this guy.
It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
But and even Chrétien too, he had his own system of beliefs. I mean, he still does. And he was very consistent in his ideology, Chrétien. I mean, let's not forget, he didn't support the war with, I think was it Bush? Or was it? No, it was Clinton. It was Clinton, and he didn't support the war.
The first Gulf War?
Yeah, in the Middle East. So people kind of respect him for standing up, at least to the States, and not kind of just following blindly, right? But all that to say, even he had beautiful things to say, a beautiful tribute from Jean Chrétien about Mulroney. And just an outstanding guy. I mean, think about it. Here's the guy that comes in the early 80s. The late 60s and 70s were marked, I think, globally by this, wave of socialism, right? That was the trend, socialism. It happened in Europe, obviously, in France, Greece, even in the U.S. with Carter, right? It was much more a little bit to the left. In comes Trudeau with his kind of ideology of it. So we were in that trend. And here comes a guy who is suggesting these fucking crazy extremist things like free trade, and privatization and all these things, right? And he was seen as the biggest enemy. What the hell are you going to do? Oh my God, there go our social programs. And now when you look back, you're like, thank fucking God he was there. Yeah. Thank God. Thank God. How much did that free trade agreement actually help Canada, and actually plant it on the world stage? It's incredible.
You ever meet him?
I ran into him once, yeah.
Did you get an opportunity
Well, I
to
was
engage
very,
him?
very, hello, sir, bonjour. And
Yeah.
it was just like in passing kind of thing. Yeah, yeah.
I was at a book launch about a year and a half ago for Aislinn, Terry Mosher,
Yeah.
the cartoonist from the Gazette.
Amazing. I love that guy.
And Mulroney was one of the invited guests.
sure.
And Terry asked Mulroney to speak, and it had not been planned. And Mr. Mulroney spoke for about 5 minutes, and just like off the cuff, eloquent and funny and charming.
Different level of politicians. There's no bullshit. I mean, you ask Justin Trudeau off the cuff to say something, it's going to be completely ridiculed.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And my companion that evening was, and is quite an attractive young lady. You know, Tiffany.
Oh, that's the picture
Yes.
you posted.
Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
And he was so smitten with her.
Yeah.
But as I said in the caption on the picture, it not in an inappropriate
gentleman.
way. Yeah.
Gentleman.
He was very charming and engaging with her.
Right.
And at one point he turned around to me and he went, "Is she with you?"
He had a deep
And I
voice.
said, yeah. And I said, "Yes, sir." And he gave me this look like, "You son of a gun." Made me feel like the most important guy in the room. Like in that moment, I was his hero, you know?
There's something about him, and I've heard him speak and stuff, just the calmness and the tone of his voice. It just makes you feel reassured that there is a leader in the room that knows what's happening.
Well, he
and
was an
what we
old
have to
school
do.
statesman. Like there aren't many, if any, like
My wife
that
worked
anymore.
with him. My wife worked with him. She used to work at Norton Rose, which is the used to be Ogilvy Renault. She was in charge of all the communications and public relations, and he was there. He after he was done, with his run as prime minister, he went into Ogilvy Renault as a legal counsel or whatever, they had him there. And she actually worked with him a couple of times, for all these public. And my wife was like, what am I doing here? I mean, I feel so stupid in the room trying to tell, Brian Mulroney about public relations and communications and what he needs to answer and how he needs to answer it. It was so stupid. It's like, what am I doing here? It's so protocol. Like, there's such a protocol. You got to be there. You're in charge of PR. So, he's giving an interview, whatever. And she was like, really?
But I'm sure that he treated her well and handled it professionally.
Yeah.
I'm sure he understood her role.
Yeah, for
even
sure.
if he didn't need her help or
But
advice.
he also he knew that she knew that you're useless here. But you know what? Sit there, do your job. I know you have a job to do, and
He was respectful.
Yes, let's act like you're doing your job, kind of thing. And he was always a gentleman, and he's great. I mean,
and rags to riches, eh? Like he came from relative poverty. His old man was an electrician. I think there were 6 kids.
It is
in the family.
It's a truly Canadian success story.
Yeah.
He doesn't come from an elitist background.
No.
It's like we're naturally the doors open for you, like Justin Trudeau.
Yeah.
And it's very at least back then. I mean, it was very common, right? I mean, you're wealthy. You're within those circles. You push your kids.
Yeah.
The doors open, and it was almost natural to see youngsters that come from these wealthy backgrounds to have access to these positions of power.
Should we see who's calling me this time?
You want to answer?
Hello,
Hello, may I speak with Robert Edward, please?
that's me.
Hi, I'm calling on behalf of Dr. Rushdie.
Oh yes.
Okay, I need to give you the message that Dr. Rushdie will be calling you soon.
Oh really? Eh? Okay. Well, I'm just in the middle of doing a podcast,
Okay?
and you're on. What do you think of that?
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Can he call me after 11:30?
I'm going to make sure I will write that on the paper.
All right. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done this to you without your permission.
It's okay, don't you worry about it.
Yeah. Well, nobody listens anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Have yourself a great day.
You too.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye. That's the dermatologist.
Okay.
So,
but was that your name or was it another name?
No, Robert Edward Bird is my name.
Oh,
yeah, and Ted comes from
because I heard Robert Edward. I'm like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is Robert Edward? And I thought you were just going along with it.
Ted's my stripper name.
I go with Ted on the weekends.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Hey, maintenant, monsieur Ted, la très belle Ted.
Oh my goodness. So Brian Mulroney, an enormous legacy. To which we all owe a huge debt of gratitude. It's just weird to me that in general from Quebec, and that's what sucks, because while he's alive, no one ever recognized these things, right? It's always like that. Whenever a statesman dies, that's when
you get
people
your due.
remember to recognize the good things that they've done.
You know what was really impressive about him, and I did realize this. I had heard it once before, but I had forgotten about it. He's the only statesman who was ever asked to speak at the funerals of 2 U.S. presidents. He eulogized Ronald Reagan, he eulogized the elder George Bush. No other statesman or stateswoman had ever been asked to speak at the funeral of more than one
Reagan,
president.
I can understand. They had an amazing relationship with Reagan, right? I mean, and
Singing When Irish Eyes Are Smiling back in 85.
Yeah. And
Quebec City.
it's well documented, but very rarely talked about, that he also played an enormous role in the fall of the Wall of Berlin. I mean, Reagan has taken most of that credit, but Mulroney had a huge role in that.
Okay, that I did not know. Behind the scenes, I guess.
Yeah. Let's not forget the whole case with Nelson Mandela as well. He was one of the only world leaders to advocate for his release and for the end of the apartheid in South Africa. And when Mandela came out of prison, his first official visit was Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, he came to Canada.
That's great.
So
hell of a legacy. You're right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Speaking of great people that left us, and you had his brother on your podcast. You had Pierre Houde, legendary broadcaster. Well, his brother, Paul Houde, passed away just surprisingly the other day.
I did not know Paul Houde, nor do I know much about him.
I would always, because I listen to French radio.
Yeah.
So I listen to 98.5 in the morning. It's with Paul Houde.
Yep.
And then Paul Houde had the afternoon program from 3, I think, to 5.
So he was more of a news and current affairs broadcaster?
So the drive at home kind of segment was Paul Houde.
Okay.
Super intelligent guy. I mean, this guy, and I mean, everyone's talking about that now. I mean, there's all these clips of him remembering statistics from the fucking 70s. He had that kind of brain.
Yeah.
And he was a sports broadcaster as well. He covered a lot of Olympic games as well. So his program wasn't necessarily news related. I mean, there was news because he covered, current affairs. But it was a beautiful variety, and it was just really, really exciting to listen to.
Was he retired, or was he still active on the radio?
He had left 98.5, and then Pascal, what's his name, Lagacé came on. What's his first name? Patrick Lagacé came on, and Paul Houde, they gave him a slot on the weekends. I think on Saturday morning at 10 or something like that.
Okay.
And that's what he was doing. And then I'm not so sure what he was doing. I think that's what he was doing. And then he was doing a bunch of other stuff. Obviously, it was all over the place. Covering sports and all that stuff. It was strange.
How old was he? Do you know? He couldn't have been that old.
I think he was 60, in his late 60s.
Yeah. So Pierre's older brother.
It's his older brother. Yeah, it's his older brother.
Yeah, Pierre had some nice words to say about him, very touching on.
For sure. Tout le monde en parle. You saw it?
No, that I did not see.
Okay. That's fascinating, because I initially saw the tweet from Pierre Houde about the death of his brother, and it says, please, give us our privacy at this very difficult moment, which is normal, right?
Sure.
Such a huge personality here in Quebec, both of them, but especially his brother. And then soon after, to find the courage to actually go and tape Tout le monde en parle.
And how was he? Was he composed?
No. There were moments where he broke down a little bit, and but it was nice of him to come out and just explain a little what happened. And he had a mass in his brain, and the doctors actually did a fantastic job. And then there were some complications, and he just surprisingly died. And he was very emotional, which, it's just a couple days after your brother died. The fact that he actually went on TV to the most popular show in Quebec, Tout le monde en parle, is the most watched program on Sundays in Quebec.
I'm sure he did that as a tribute to his brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think he was back in the broadcast booth. I think he was back.
Well, he covered the F1 the day after.
Did he?
Yeah. Which is,
I don't know if you've ever met Pierre, but he's the nicest.
No, I haven't.
He is the nicest man. He is so nice. He's such a gentleman. He wouldn't say shit if he had a mouthful, as they say. He's just the nicest guy.
I love, old timers like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're not old. I mean, he's not old. I mean, he's
No,
in his
but he's
early
been around for a
60s,
long
but
time. Yeah.
And when you
How old
had
is
him,
Pierre,
in his
he's
early-
probably my age.
Yeah, he's in his early 60s, I think.
Yeah.
If his older brother was in his late 60s, I mean, I would assume. I think that a 3-year difference or something like that.
Okay.
So when you had him on the podcast, just the stories.
Yeah.
Just the stories. The early days, how you get started,
Yeah.
and how you build up and gain your place in this whole environment and media and just fascinating
And
stuff.
the sign of a great broadcaster, exactly the same person off the air that he is on the
Yeah,
air.
yeah.
So if you watch him on the air, that's who Pierre Houde is. There's no difference when he comes off the air. There's no difference. That's him right
but
there.
Both him and his brother, but mostly his brother. The fact that you can instantly just remember statistics, and there was a clip.
Dick Irvin's like that too.
Yeah.
At 92. Dick turned 92 this
incredible.
week, and he's still like
It's incredible.
that.
It's incredible.
I remember back in 1972 in the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah. It was the 13th of August.
Yeah.
3 p.m.
Yeah.
mind you.
1722 of the third period. Larry Robinson. Man, see?
But I find that fascinating. For me, that's incredible. And they were showing old clips of Paul Houde on Tout le monde en parle. And I think Terry kind of commented on that too. And just to test him, Guillaume Lepage, who's the host of that show, found all these weird things about Olympics and, who came in third in the 1,500 meter race in, I don't know which
1988,
Olympics,
yeah.
or even older,
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, wait, I remember the first place was that guy, and then the second place was that guy who was third, and just remembering things.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember what I ate
Encyclopedic
yesterday.
memory, yeah.
Dude, it's incredible. So there's going to be a huge gap in media in Quebec, just like when Lapierre died. I don't know if you remember, what's his name? Paul Lapierre. What the hell's his name? Lapierre. He was a federal politician, and he actually founded the Bloc Québécois with Lucien Bouchard. What's his name?
yes.
What's his first name? Lapierre.
Yeah. He died in a plane crash.
Yeah. So same thing with him.
Yeah, why am I blanking on his name? Why does that happen sometimes? When one person blanks, so does the other person.
Jesus Christ, what was his first name?
Does it begin with M?
Lapierre.
Because you guys are firing blanks.
Yeah.
Hey,
we got to figure out who that is. Find out who that is before we move on. and we'll see what
Can you
the-
search that Quebec journalist Lapierre?
No, or politician.
Yeah. He was
Quebec
mostly known as a
politician.
journalist, though.
No, he was mostly known as politician, I would say.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess my
He was Jean
generation-
Lapierre.
Jean Lapierre, yeah.
How do you forget Jean?
I don't know. I don't
what
know.
the hell's wrong
Yeah,
with us?
I don't know.
meanwhile, Paul Houde was remembering statistics of the 72
really. Hey,
Olympics.
we can't remember the name of one of the most prominent Quebec politicians and broadcasters.
Jean Lapierre.
Yeah, that was so tragic.
It's incredible.
What happened to him?
He died in a
was
plane
flying.
crash.
He was from the Ile de la Madeleine. He was from the islands, and he was flying with his family to go to his dad's funeral.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And the plane fucking crashes, and the rest of the family just dies. It's just incredible. Incredible story. So yeah. Enough sad stuff.
What a bad father. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I can't. No, not him. His father.
I'm dying to hear your opinion, Ted, on this new policy that Quebec
Ted, I
has.
apologize. I'm very
My
sorry.
opinion. He's dying to hear my opinion. You
Yeah,
know that?
sorry.
Not yours. His.
I understand. I completely understand. I have very bad opinions.
The Quebec government has approved and
my, I
will
know where you're
allow
going.
on our driver's license to have the X gender marker. So where you have the FM, there's going to be an X now.
It doesn't affect me personally.
Yeah.
So whatever. If you go ahead and identify yourself any way you want, but do not compel me to buy into it. You can call yourself X, but if you were born with a vagina, as far as I'm concerned, you're a woman. And if you were born with a penis, as far as I'm concerned, you're a man. Take the X if you want it, but do not compel me to buy into what I believe is your delusion.
Yeah. The question I have is, is this the beginning of more things to come?
Well, that's it. Is it?
Because on a personal level, I agree with you. Nobody cares. Do whatever you want, and I'm there too. I really don't care. They don't bother me. They never did, and they never will. Do whatever you want. But when it comes to that higher level where government actually makes decisions on stuff like that, like Justin Trudeau putting tampons in bathrooms. These are to me nonsensical stuff.
That's when you're mainstreaming delusion.
Yeah. I've seen that clip. It's such a funny thing where the cop is running after some guy. And he stops to ask this, bystander there, did you see where this person goes? Yeah, they went that way. What do you mean? There are two of them? No, they.
Oh, yeah, that's...
He's like, what do you mean? I don't understand. Is there one person or two people? He's like, they is one person. Is it a male? No, well, it's they. It was like, well, and there's all this confusion. It's such a fucking funny clip.
Was it a skit or was it for real?
It was a skit. It was a skit. But similar to that, the cop now pulls you over.
Super Wog 1.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to watch it?
Yeah, let's watch it.
It's very good. Hold on, let me put it up for the peeps at home.
Is this the one? I don't remember that girl.
Yeah. Oh, that's surprising that you don't remember her, George.
She's pretty.
Fucking 7 minutes is a lot. Okay.
Stop right there. You're going too fast. Slow down.
But I'm not driving.
No. Slow down with the Botox. What the fuck is wrong with you?
No, that's not.
There you go. $600 fine, you maggot.
For what? I was riding on the left.
Your license too tight. It's a public hazard, mate.
What? It's for slipstream.
Yeah. They're slipping up your nuts. I can see it.
They went that way.
Okay, male or female?
So this is British, obviously.
Them.
What?
That's their pronoun.
Okay, so how many were there?
Oh my God, one, you idiot. They're non-binary.
So does non-binary have a hole or a pole? We just need to clarify.
They who? Who them? Where why? Who's who? They them or who?
We're having pronoun trouble again. I have reason to suspect you've never taken this thing off-road.
Are you serious?
Step outside, we're gonna do a dust check.
What?
Four-wheel drives require dust and registration, mate. Step back. It's illegal to drive with no intention of using a vehicle for its intended purpose. You're a douche.
Is this British or Australian?
Australian.
Just stop. This is a cringe-free zone. 3 times the cringe limit. You are causing death. You are killing innocent people with your shitty dancing. Now fuck off.
It's a dash cam.
What are you recording? Our way of life? 822, we've got an Asian male collecting intelligence, possibly for TikTok.
I don't have TikTok.
Remove the camera and hand it to me very slowly.
I was just violently attacked.
By who?
By her. We were just arguing. She used offensive and violent...
The other guy smoking a cigar.
Yeah. He was smoking a joint before. That's
Got 3
great.
of them this morning. They're everywhere today.
What's this called again?
So this is a YouTube creator. I stumbled upon him a while back. He was a bit ahead of his.
Is it this guy here?
I'm this guy, Super Wog 1. He's
Did you tell me about that, George? I think you did. Somebody did.
He's an Egyptian Australian, and he's very funny. There's also another skit that he does where he's a car salesman, which is hilarious.
Oh my God, they fucking tased the lady.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I love that they're taking the piss out of woke. As long as we can still take the piss out of it, you know.
Yeah.
When you're not allowed to make fun of it, that's where it gets a little bit. Scary
Look at this. Look at this.
Whether it's your first car or another to add to the collection, our dealership has it all.
So how many airbags does this have?
3 on the front, 2 on the back.
That's not enough. I need more airbags.
What about the airbag in your stomach? 6. That's a fucking Mack truck airbag you got right there, mate. What car you want?
C-Class Mercedes. I want to test drive.
Test drive, okay. I test drive for you. You sit in passenger seat. I don't trust you.
Whether Whether it's your first car or another to add to the collection.
Dude, yeah, hold on. I'm gonna play one more.
Poor Asian guy.
I'm gonna play one more. This where he's inside. Yeah, this one's good.
I've decided I want a Tesla.
Why?
I'm worried about my environmental footprint.
Environmental footprint? What about the hectic butt print you left him all day?
What about the what?
What's the fix, man?
Butt print.
Fuck you, bro. You Tesla dog. So you're gonna buy one?
Yeah, he had. There's more, but he is very good. He's hilarious.
Super Wog.
Super Wog 1. I think I really like what he's doing.
So that's the whole thing about this X marker. And I mean, look, I have a lot of friends in the gay community, and one of them that actually advocates for them, and he was so excited, and I was like, what the, like, seriously, this is the thing, this is the priority now. I mean, I don't get it. And we're talking before we went on air about other gay groups that are thinking that this transgender thing is actually hindering the cause.
Well, yeah, it's
of the gay
undermining.
community.
Yeah, there are other groups that feel that it's undermining.
And I love how we're all capitulating to delusions.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't disagree with that.
As a society, it's bad, man. Once you start giving into delusions like that, what's to say? You know what? I identify as a millionaire. Where's my $5 million?
Yeah,
I walk into the bank.
Yeah, look, for me, I don't mind so much that people talk like that. What bothers me is that we're actually taking it seriously.
That's fine. Keep it between amongst yourselves, but we can't all succumb to the delusion. It's like me. Like if I walked in here and I acted skinny. You have. When? You have. Yeah, but have you?
Well, you're dressed all in black today, and it is slimming.
Yeah. Well, it's an illusion.
How many times?
Well, at least it's illusion and not delusion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, I can remember so many times you walk in. Fuck, I look good today, huh?
Oh, that's a difference. If I look good,
I'm losing weight here. Look at this, and I'm like, where? Fuck, behind your ears.
Yeah, looking good. That's a different story. But I will never claim I'm skinny, bro. I'm no runway model.
There's a guy who's running for governor in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. I'm going to send Poseidon the clip. Can we play a clip off YouTube without getting flagged?
I just did, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to send you...
let me see if they gave us any trouble. No, still excellent connection. No warnings.
Okay, so I just emailed you the clip, and the guy's name is Mark Robinson, and he won his primary to move closer to potentially becoming the next governor of North Carolina. I want you to listen to what he says. Not too many people have the courage these days to speak as openly as he does here about gender. Listen to what he says.
Supposed to say, ain't but two genders.
Oh, is he a preacher?
I don't know. Possibly.
Two genders.
But listen to him. He's like MLK.
Ain't nothing but men and women. And I can already see WRL out there. They got they licking their pencils right now, trying to write fierce as they can. Get every word of this here. Get every word of this. You can go to the doctor and get cut up. You can go down to the dress shop and get made up. You can go down there and get drugged up. But at the end of the day, you were just a drugged up, dressed up, made up, cut up, man or woman. You ain't changed what God put in you, that DNA.
There's an old-time revival, eh?
Can't transcend God's creation. I don't care how hard you try. The transgender movement in this country, if there's a movement in this country that is demonic, and that is full of the spirit of Antichrist, it is the transgender movement. It's time for grown-ups and time for Christians to start standing up and being unafraid to tell the truth. Come after me if you want to. I don't care. You want my head? Here it is right here. Come on, come get it.
One white guy in the
I don't care
back.
because it's time for us to stand up. Now, I'm not afraid to stand up and tell the truth about that issue. They're dragging our kids down into the pit of hell, trying to teach them that mess in our schools. Tell you like this, that ain't got no place at no school. 2 + 2 don't equal transgender. You need to get back to teaching them how to read instead of teaching them how to go to hell.
I like this guy.
Yeah, I said
That's some
not
real
me.
courage. I mean, it takes courage, and it's amazing. All he's doing, to me, he's just talking common sense. But in this day and age, it takes real courage to publicly speak like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see the kind of support he's getting.
Well, also, let's not forget, he's in his own community there, you know. You know what to say and where to say it, right?
Yeah, but he also knows that's going to go out on social
exactly.
media.
That was the next
and
thing I was
that's
gonna
going to
say.
go that's going to go viral if it hasn't already. That
For
clip.
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And there are a lot of people, the majority of people, and I would dare say the vast majority of people agree with what he says, but we're too scared to speak up. Because 1% of the people are making 99% of the noise because social media.
You know what? You know what's touchy, Ted? I don't have a problem, and I want to support that community. But at the same time, I just find ridiculous the path. So it's like this fine line where you're afraid to say what you want to say because you don't want to offend the community that you legitimately support. I don't have an issue with them, right? It's just that the requests that are coming out from that community sometimes just don't make sense.
Well, again, it's compelling people. It's, you know, you cannot compel me to say that you are something that common sense tells me you are not.
Yeah. Here's where I stand. You can say whatever you want, okay? If you're a man and you think that you're a woman, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. Even if I know that, look, you're a man. No matter what happens, biologically, you're a man, okay? But if you identify as a woman, then identify as a woman. I don't have an issue with that.
But stay the fuck out of women's locker rooms. Stay out of women's intimate private spaces.
That's the issue. What are we doing publicly, though? You know, you're incorporating this ideology now in the schools. You know, the whole bathroom question is becoming questionable. That's where I have trouble. I have
more than trouble.
Yeah.
To me, it's dangerous. It's being exploited by people with an agenda and a nefarious agenda. It's I don't know how we got here. I was telling you a story before the show about somebody. Somebody said on social media, because I had stated that I agreed with an account on Twitter called Gays Against Groomers, who said, I didn't even state that I agreed with them, but they said that perverts and pedophiles are using the transgender movement as cover to gain access to women and their private spaces and to indoctrinate children in unscientific sexual and gender theory. And I wrote, does anyone have a credible rebuttal to this? And nobody did, but one person said, what happened to Ted Bird? And I thought to myself, like, from a former fan, what happened to Ted Bird? And I thought, what happened to me? What happened to me? Like, I'm against biological men going into women's private intimate spaces, and I'm against children being indoctrinated in sexual and gender theory while they're still prepubescent against their children's wishes. What happened to me? The fuck happened to you that you would support something like that?
Yeah.
All I'm doing is I'm supporting what society has supported for centuries. I'm what did I respond to the guy? I said nothing happened to me, still a slave to the truth and common sense.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy about all this is that one day, if they keep pushing, there's going to be a father who has that side to him that you shouldn't like tread on him. And there's going to be people going missing.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably, if you could probably search, do an internet search, that's probably already happened.
It's probably already happened. But if they keep pushing for this shit on kids, man, someone's going to snap, man. If not already, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't blame the person. I wouldn't blame the person one bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of common sense, there was a by-election on Monday
These by-elections. What happened to straight elections? Enough with a
Listen,
by.
I don't have a problem with a by-election, but a trans election is where I draw the line. I can't buy into that.
So Aaron O'Toole, the former leader of the Conservative Party, obviously stepped down. There was a by-election in his old riding in Durham, in Ontario. And the Conservatives won it. It's not a surprise that they won it.
Former radio guy.
Yeah, Jamil Giovanni. A prominent figure also in the Conservative Party. Was no surprise that they gave him that seat. He won. But here's the thing. It's not a surprise the Conservatives won that seat. I mean, everyone expected it. But for a by-election, think about this. For a by-election, the guy had secured more votes than the Conservatives had ever won in that riding in like over 20 years. For a by-election, which normally probably around half or 60% of the people actually turn out to vote, right? So the voter turnout is much less than the general election. And just from that, he managed to secure more votes, a bigger majority than the Conservatives had ever gotten in over 20 years in that specific riding. Imagine what may happen potentially in a general election. So the Liberals lost a seat. They came out and said, well, it's not a surprise. It's a Conservative seat, right? I don't care about that. I don't look at that. We all know that it was a Conservative seat. I'm looking at the numbers. And it's an indication, because when you extrapolate that and analyze what might have been if it were a general election, is that a sign that, again, demonstrates the massive support that Pierre Poilievre is having across Canada?
It's not a Toronto proper riding, but it's a Toronto area riding, right?
Yeah, I think it's in the outskirts. Where's Durham? I don't know.
I think it's a little bit east or northeast of Toronto. Is Toronto proper a Liberal stronghold?
It's half and these are always the seats that are contested, right? The Greater Toronto area, the GTA, like they call, and that's basically in elections. That's the district, the area there, and Quebec is the two areas that analysts and people that are looking and calculating and making all these sort of statistics actually look at during the general election. So if you manage to make gains in that area, in the GTA area and in Quebec, depending, how many in each side there, it usually marks the victory. But we spoke about this last time. Pierre Poilievre has managed to get so much support across Canada that at this point, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. He's making...
It doesn't matter how he does in Toronto?
It doesn't matter those two specific...
Toronto and metropolitan Toronto and Quebec.
Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
That's interesting, because as you said, those are often the two areas that decide elections.
Exactly. He's doing good in the Maritimes.
Out west.
He's destroying everywhere.
Yeah.
And this week, I think there was another poll in Quebec specifically, and for the first time ever, he surpassed the Liberals. So it was Bloc and then Conservatives. And I saw something.
How far is he behind the Bloc?
I'm not sure what the numbers were, but can you check Poseidon? Latest federal poll, Quebec. Latest federal poll, Quebec. Because I think I saw something. I don't know if it's recent, but he may have even surpassed the Bloc in Quebec. It was Éric Duhem, the provincial Conservative, that mentioned it. But latest federal poll for Quebec. I don't know which company it was that did it, but anyway. He's on a roll, the guy. He is on a fucking roll, and I know that the Liberals are afraid, which is why they are more and more coming closer with the NDP, because they have no other alternative. They can't afford to go into an election right now. We spoke about the farmer care.
That went through.
Okay, so the website is 338canada.com.
Oh, it's possible. Okay.
And I have. You know what? I have it here. I'm going to bring it up for the people.
Put it up. This is in Quebec?
This is in Quebec.
No, it can be Quebec.
It is Quebec. I clicked
on
Quebec.
Yeah. Go down. So yeah, he did surpass. Go up a bit. I just want to see the.
Yeah.
No, how come the Liberals are second? That can't be true.
No, this is the seat projection.
Yeah,
this is the vote projection.
Okay, yeah, this is across, but I want to know just specifically in Quebec.
Yeah, this is.
It can't be Quebec. It can be third.
I clicked on Quebec, bro.
No.
Man, bro,
Dude, I'm telling you, dude, it's not. Bro, Quebec can be third.
Okay, I'm gonna put it up.
Bloc can be third in Quebec.
I'm gonna put it up for you. They're not third for third for seats, bro. I clicked on this. Why don't you listen to me, man?
Yeah, he's right. He clicked on it, but that's the overall. That's the overall, is it not?
Where does it show?
Last update, March, Canada. Hold on, let me see.
Click back one. Go back to the map because I think we can see it on the map. Yeah. What does it say there? Can you enlarge that?
No.
Even that. See, the blue one is the.
Is this it?
There. Is that it?
No.
Popular vote. Popular vote does not translate into seats necessarily, does it?
Yeah, you were there. No, this is provincial.
Yeah. So they're projecting a greater percentage of the popular vote for
Quebec updated. No, this is from February. Hold on, let me go check the tweet from Duhem.
Has anyone ever told you he's a pustis?
What does that mean? Did we have that at Marvin's?
Well, you know. You could if you asked for the special.
I need to learn more Greek swear words. I only know malaka.
Pustis means
so it's
gay.
in nanos, okay? So here goes. In Ontario, okay, Quebec.
If it's the same thing, I'm going to flip a table.
No, it's not. But I still don't understand how the block is third, though.
The block is third for seats because they don't occupy many seats.
It's not the seats because I have a percentage over here. It says here Conservatives 26.4, Liberal 26.2, Bloc
this is popular vote, right?
24.8.
But popular vote doesn't necessarily translate into seats, does it?
No, of course not. No, but it says and it's whatever. Bottom line, he's doing extremely well.
He's ahead of the Liberals in Quebec. That's big for the Conservatives to be ahead of the Liberals.
Yeah,
in Quebec.
Whether he's first or not, I know for a fact that I saw somewhere that he surpassed the Liberals in Quebec.
I can't see him being ahead of the Bloc, though. That would make sense to me. I
don't know. Eric Duhem put a post up that for the first time they're ahead.
It's in the regions that the Bloc does very well, eh? More than it is in urban, like in Montreal, for example.
Well, Montreal, do they have anyone? No, they don't have anything in Montreal. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does well. But yeah, you're right. It is in the regions outside of the Greater Montreal area. He's probably going to make gains in Quebec. I don't know. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen because right now they have 11. With Harper, when they had the majority, they only had 8 in Quebec.
8 seats.
8, but that's because the NDP completely decimated the Liberals, so they didn't care.
The orange wave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there was no Liberal vote. And that's what he's banking on. He doesn't care that the Bloc is first in Quebec. As long as the vote goes there, he doesn't care. He's going to go right through them, right? Even if he has even less than what he has now. He doesn't care.
If you were to choose a color that you would classify as trans, which color would it be?
Mauve.
But mauve.
Periwinkle.
What the fuck is that? But mauve could be the color of royalty as well.
It could, eh?
You, George, which color would you...
For trans?
Yeah.
I only say mauve because isn't that their color on the rainbow flag? Isn't it the kind of a purplish kind of a sort of
Is that the trans one?
I think so.
I'd go with fuchsia.
Fuchsia would be good.
Yeah. I would go with orange.
Orange?
Yeah. Can't decide if it's red or yellow. It's a weird color.
That's pretty good. I like that. Can't decide if it's red or yellow because red and yellow together make orange.
Exactly,
see, George. That's the joke.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. So
I got it, Poseidon. I thought it was good.
You got it.
That was very clever. I thought that was very clever. So can't decide whether it's red or yellow. So it's going to be orange.
Yeah.
So
they probably put X on his driver's license application.
Captain Yolo sent me the link here. It's a Léger poll, but this is
fucking Captain Yolo, huh?
Yeah, but this is the old one. This is from end of February when the Conservatives beat the Liberals. But
the end of February was last
32,
week.
Yeah, 32, 29, 21. So
okay.
This is when the Conservatives surpassed the Liberals. But from what Eric Duhem
but they're right on the heels of the Bloc.
It's not that much of a difference, exactly. But from what Eric Duhem said, it appears that maybe the Conservatives actually surpassed the Bloc. I don't know. It doesn't matter. In any case, they're up there in Quebec, which is a huge fucking surprise.
Yeah.
It's a huge surprise.
Because you know why? Do you know why?
Because they're gay?
No, because people are fed up, man. I think people are fed up, bro. They want something. They want leadership change, and they want quality leadership. And people are seeing Poilievre as a quality leader.
You know, I'm still not sure if whether they support him because they support what he says, or it's because they're just fed up of Trudeau.
Well, voter
and he
fatigue,
seems,
yeah.
and he seems like, look,
At the end of the day,
he's the most obvious choice to go with right now, whether he makes sense or not.
I'll be honest.
I can't deal with whatever else there is.
I don't think people agree with everything he has to say, but people are tired of poor leadership. And Poilievre has time and time again displayed quality leadership. In the interviews, in the questioning, he's confident, but not cocky. You know,
He can be cocky.
Oh, he's
He
very
could
cocky.
be.
He's very cocky.
Eating the apple, that was pretty cocky.
He is fucking.
That was cocky.
He's the definition of cockiness, man. Poilievre, but you know, people seem to like it because they're like, you know what? At least he's fucking true to himself. And fuck that
He's
shit.
not disingenuous.
Exactly. So, you know, it's curious. For me, there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to in the next federal election. Mostly, though, the Liberal candidates, what track record are you going to defend in the upcoming election? That's what I'm curious to see. What are you going to say that is positive and that you're going to be able to use as, you know, that springboard into convincing people to vote for you? Because you've done nothing. There's nothing positive. What are you going to say? I don't know.
Yeah, they've bamboozled the whole country, bro.
I don't know. Anyway, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna put a period on there and end that the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you. We love the support. We love you commenting on what we're saying, even though if it makes no sense, especially if it comes from Poseidon's mouth.
George,
he's still playing with he's playing with himself. Over
I'm
there.
fingering the volume knob.
Please do him a favor and support this guy. ThePoseidon69, IamPoseidon.com. Go support his YouTube page. Ted Bird over here. Soon, very soon, there's going to be a brand new season of the Standing By podcast with himself and Terry DeMonte. You can check him out every morning on the radio. Where are the stations again?
106.7 FM, Light 106.7 in Hudson, Quebec, and Light 98.5 in Ottawa. And for the love of God, don't tell my employers about this podcast because I'll be fired.
As for me, you can head on to the Backstage podcast, although there's nothing going on there now. It's been a while. But you can definitely, especially if you know or understand French, head on over to Politiquement Parlant. It is a growing YouTube page. A lot of support. We're getting a lot of huge political personalities over there, and there's much more to come. So head on over there and support. Thank you all so much. Don't forget, patreon.com/Pantelis for all exclusive content. Thank you all so very much. We'll see you next week. Take care.